Welcome back to Visual Trigger.
So yeah, the next part of what I wanted to say about street photography, and I don't really think that street photographers or people who do street photography, I think they basically just chase gear when they really should be buying books. But that's not sexy, to go out in their street talk group because, you got to have whatever their leader had or whatever the guy who was cool had who was shooting. I mean, I've always enjoyed the genre, like as just a viewer too, and I actually picked up a lot of really good prints at auctions and from galleries and dealers, and even flipped things from things that we got at auction that we didn't want and would sell to a dealer. And they've actually turned out to be pretty good investments. I mean, none of them are Robert fucking Franks, but, still relatively young-ish. So, yeah, maybe I'll have a Robert Frank someday. But you're not going to get street photographers to buy your shit. Some of them perhaps, but no way. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily call them cheap, but I don't know what I'd call them. It seems so. The moments that the photographs that I've bought, I have to, like, everything, all of them have been moments. And though I like the interactions between humans, I think it's different than the human shape and form against their environment or the light hitting them. I mean, all those things can be important, especially light. That's a great thing because you kind of need light in photography. It's part of the word. And I wonder if people do those juxtapositions because they don't want to get caught. Like, I don't have one photo on my walls of someone with their back turned. I don't understand those. I guess if they're all wearing yellow and there's like a complementary color in the background of it, sure. And in fact, I don't even think we own any color street photography, and I'm not opposed to it. I just don't think that we own one. I don't remember. I'll look. In fact, maybe I'll even put a camera on a gimbal and just kind of show some of the stuff that's in my place. And I think when you do those juxtapositions, it's almost like you don't have to interact. And I'm not saying you got to get Gildan in someone's face, because that's kind of like inserting yourself into their world. I guess I like a more esoteric, perhaps voyeuristic. Well, not even, I would rather someone didn't even know the photographer was there. And I'm not saying, oh, I know. I think I remember seeing a whole thing. One of the popular people on one of these stupid fucking web groups is like, oh, hip shots. Go fuck yourself. Who cares how you make a fucking photo? Who gives a fuck? Like, so you get mad at other people because you're saying, oh, you're trying to be a de facto leader in the... No. It's in these web groups, the loudest voices are always the biggest self-promoters. Always. And it pretty much seems like that's true across the board. And I think that they choose to do these easier kind of photos that are juxtapositions and shapes against things, and like things that may not include humans but are considered humorous. I think it's because they can produce so much more of that and then develop a style and then they fucking post every day because they got to keep up with the fucking Joneses every day. And you're going to really come up with that kind of, I mean, sure, you know what? If you're a commercial guy and you're shooting all day, every day, and even those guys, unless they're super self-promoters, I don't even know those guys who post every day. And I mean, nobody's posting now. And, you know, I thought about like some of them just seem like they're. I'm just making sure because I didn't call sound speed in my brain. Once I push that and then I hit sound speed, I kind of say it in my mind to make sure that I know that I'm rolling good sound rather than like I'm sure the sound off of that's fine. It's a Rode Video Mic Pro, but it's not a Sennheiser 416. That's what they use for doing all sorts of like voiceover work with in studios. So, and this is definitely not a studio. It's like my office / a place where I store my gear, and I have a little product stage. Let's see. Can you see it over there? It's over there. It focuses pretty goddamn good. Anyway, I mean, it almost seems like their version of street is essentially urban landscape with some human forms in it. But, you know, they're always trying to push the definition away from what, like, the guys who first did it. And that's fine. If that's what you want to do, if you want to redefine it, that's great for you. And you know what's funny is they seem to, because I don't, there's not one group that I interact with. I don't post on a platform. I mean, okay, I post on Instagram, but I have a dog account. I have I have like 4 accounts. And I don't even think that there's not even like a hashtag community that I would ever. I mean, I'm not saying it's bad. It's just I don't have time, and nor do I fucking care. So I think that these people feed off each other's work. And why would you want to do that? Why don't you just do what you do best instead of just trying to be one of the herd? It's never made a lot of sense to me. I mean, I wonder like what people's motivations are to make street photographs. Like, did they see it like on Petapixel or I don't know, some other thing out there and say, oh, that's cool. I think I'm going to do that too. And that's great. Good. I mean, absolutely do that if that's your motivation. You know, like, what do you see? Do you see compositions with humor, juxtapositions, light and shadow, humor, moments between humans that are tender, bad, poignant? I don't know. I kind of think that when you do it, you should kind of have a purpose and a motivation for doing it. I'm not saying define it. I would say that it takes years and years and years to really figure out what you like doing in street photography, I think. I know even though I don't have the opportunity to shoot it every day, if I do go in a situation, I know there's going to be humans around, definitely have a camera. And is it always about redefining yourself? Is it always about pushing your work? Is it always about, and I'm not even pushing your work. Is it always about the next thing? I mean, can't you pick something, or maybe even 2 things, and just try to do those really well without trying to copy people and feeding off of other people's work? It just, I don't know, because the people you see doing that now, you won't see them in 4 years, 5 years. And they probably will probably have to sell their cameras after that, and they won't even care. Oh, fuck. There we go. And do you like the straightforward aspect of it? Or do you like a little bit of esotericism when you make compositions? I mean, does it always have to be straightforward? Does it always, because I mean, the most straightforward things to me, I mean, sure, there was like, I forget, there's this photo with a fucking cat. And it's tail or some shit in a box. And okay, I mean, sure. But I get, you know what? I guess I look at things and say, "What I want that on my wall," and a lot of times, no, that's not actually what I want on my wall. And I've always wondered why people who do street photography, they try to do these hyper individualized styles that it almost, it's not that it looks dated, it just looks like the same thing over and over and over, and they don't deviate. And I mean, it's great to have a style, but if it's over and over and over, I don't know. I mean, maybe that's what people want to see in their feed. They want to see, like, they want to be comfortable and know what to expect in their feed. I don't know. I don't really have friends that do that kind of stuff. And you know, when you do one style and you see things moving towards other styles because they want to impress curators, and they're not impressing like MoMA, Mocha, LACMA. They're not impressing them. They're not impressing them. And I mean, it hasn't moved to like juxtapositions because like human moments are trite. I mean, I almost think juxtaposition stuff is less human. It makes the human just look like an object. And I mean, does that say more about like who we are or who we're becoming as a human race? You know, we just kind of objectify every bit of life. And I mean, does it like detach ourselves from the human race, other humans? Or does it, I mean, really, does it detach ourselves from ourselves? I don't know. I know that shots from the backs of people do, for sure. And I mean, I think this genre is totally personal. And once you start like, oh, I'm gonna do a book. Do you know how many fucking times I've heard that from people? I'm gonna do a book. Well, no, you're not gonna do a book. I think that then they decide, well, I'm gonna do a zine. And I've seen some fucking amazing ones. I've bought a few of them. Fantastic stuff. And I think those people should probably do books, but what they'll find is there's an artist participation and they're just not gonna be able to do it. And I think that I said kind of like, I'm sure I'll say more. But for now, I think that that's what I wanted to say. And I'm sure I'll get shit for it. I'm sure that comments on YouTube will turn into the shit show that comments always turn into, especially these days. I mean, I see just on my own Facebook page, sometimes conversations just degrade. And some of these people, they know each other in real life and they still just degrade like these people have never met before. And what I don't know. I mean, I have friends that know all this nomenclature for like an edgelord. There's always the edgelord and the contrarian commenter. It's almost like it's a play of these people. But yeah, and talked to a couple of my friends now, and they'll allow me to. I guess I'm going to do it via Skype and record the the screen and the sound. So we'll see how that sounds too. But otherwise, thanks for listening. Thanks for not being a total dick in the comments.